All right, what we got here today is a 1990 Ford F150. I love these things, man. These things make me a lot of money. You know, I'm just saying, I'm just kidding, y'all. I love working on cars, any cars, all cars. We got a whole list of things to do this day, but right now what we're going to start on, we're going to replace the turn signal multifunction switch in the column. We're having issues out of this truck with no brake lights and no tail lights, and indicators tell me that it's all in the switch here, because basically all the brake lights and the turn signals and everything kind of run through this little switch right here. So we're going to be working on this and going through this for you and showing you how to do everything. So come on and adventure with us. All right, so where we want to start, you got to pull the steering wheel off. But to start with the steering wheel, we've got to pull this cover off. And yes, I do realize for you Ford enthusiasts, this is not the original steering wheel or steering column that come in this truck. This is a newer model that was put in before we even got the truck. So everything's not like it should be, but we're going to do the best we can. Where we're going to start at, we got to pull this front cover off. There are two screws back here in the back that you're going to pull out. I've already pulled them out. Actually, they were actually missing. So once you pop this off, and you can get back in here and unplug your assembly there. You can just set that off to the side somewhere. Then the next thing you want to do, you want to get this nut off. You can use the fancy way to do things, use your steering wheel puller, or what I like to do, the redneck way, and just use a good old muscle. Once you get the nut off, you can just basically hit the back of the steering wheel really hard, and a lot of times it'll just pop right off. So once you get your nut loose here, like I said, just take that off, set it off to the side, and then you just hit the back of the steering wheel, and a lot of times it just pops right off of there. Always make sure that you have your steering wheel as straight as possible when you take it off. That way when you put it back on, you know exactly where it's going to go. So then we get in here, and I've already noticed this thing's already got a broken ground wire. This thing is already broke, so that's possibly one of the issues that we already have. The wire's all frayed back where it's been rubbing on the bottom of the steering wheel. So normally it's supposed to look like this. So it just, I don't know how that thing comes out of there. So you just pop that little safety cover off. It just protects the pin right here. You want to make sure that's out, but that thing sits in there like that, and it's supposed to be a direct contact, and it is not. So we're going to start with a 7mm and a ratchet, and we're going to start by taking that loose. And just be careful, don't drop your screws. Right here on the inside, you have a screw here, and then there's another one down here. Well, there's supposed to be, but it is missing. So great quality work from the previous person that worked on this. So then you just take your screw out, and this whole assembly will slide up out of here. And you just kind of examine, you know, your whole unit and see, this is the quality of work that some rednecks do. Not this redneck though. We are a little bit more better than that. So this right here, all this is probably a big issue with why we don't have any brake lights or tail lights, because all this stuff right here is probably just grounding out on the inside of the column and just causing havoc in the whole system. And you look at the bottom of this and compare them, I mean, you see how neat it's supposed to be. And yeah, so hopefully this is going to take care of what one of the biggest issues he has with it. So we shall find out. Next thing you want to do is you got to go under the dash here, and there's a connector under here, and you have to unplug it, which can be a pain in the butt sometimes, but you just go at it and it just pops right loose. All right, so here's your connector right here. Like I said, it can be a real pain in the butt to disconnect, but you just kind of wiggle it back and forth and pull on it, and it'll come out. Like I said, it's a pain in the butt. Not a big deal. And you can kind of use it as a template also when you go to put the new one back together, because all your color wires are the same. So you just cut it back to where you can still see your wires there, and you still got your wires in there. So that way you can kind of match them up, put wires back, and see, like this one, the colors don't even match, but you can at least get them back to where they're supposed to be. You can put the right wires in the right hole.
All right, so sometimes when you're working on things, you got to take matters in your own hands, and you just got to make something work. So as we were talking about with this plug, we were going to have to pull all the pins back out of it. So we needed to know like what pins go to what spaces. So what we had to do is, as you can see right here, we had to draw out a picture of the end of the pin, number off the pin locations, and then make a list of what color wires go to which location. So when we get ready to put, we run those wires down through there and then get ready to put this connector back on, we know what goes where.
All right, so to get this end apart, you just take a little screwdriver. This little piece right here just pops right out of there. Okay, so these little plastic keepers hold these pins in, so you just take your screwdriver and just kind of pull it back, and they pop right out of there. And just go through and do that with each one of them. Just make sure you grab the right wires. It's a bit tedious, especially when you got bear claws like me. Doing small stuff like this is a little bit tricky. And there you have it. All right, so once you get your end taped up, you want to get you something like of course this is one of those odd commodities. This used to be a wire coat hanger. Yeah, some of us old school mechanics like to use these for multiple things, and I'm fixing to show you one thing we like to work on. We do. So you want to take the end, kind of bend it over in a little U shape, hook it inside your wires here. Yeah, sometimes they're a pain in the butt to work with. And run you some tape on there. Just kind of hold it in there. This next part can be kind of tricky. You got a little hole to fish down through. So, poke it through there. Like I said, you just gotta be patient. Just wiggle it around, and of course, this little sleeve is being a pain. Yeah, they never can make things too easy. Alright, so once you get it fed through and you go through the aggravation and the cussing and everything else, you finally get your sleeve through. And you just kind of get everything kind of lined up here and just pull it on in. It's Make sure all your wires are tucked in. Okay, so we're probably gonna have to put this in first. And of course, this is all Chinese plastic, so nothing has to be extremely tight just to get all snug. Tuck all your wires in so it's all pretty. Just like so. Magnetic screwdriver usually helps in this situation, but we rednecks, we deal with what we got. Then you find the hole. Snug it up a little bit. We're gonna have to find a screw for this other one. That way we can get it all mounted right. So I found us another screw to put in here. And sometimes this can be a little tricky. I forgot to mention in the previous video, the beginning, that the turn signal switch just screws out of the old one. So now I'm trying to get it screwed back in to where I can get this other screw in, if we can get it to work right. And flip that up and gives you all kinds of room to get your screw in there. And ta-da! There we go. Now, get down here and get our connector put back together. Alright. So, I got them numbered. And we got black here. And green with a white stripe. And then once you get all those in there, then you want to make sure you put your little red tab back in there, because these all keep the pins pushed out against the wires so they don't pop out again. And voila, that's it. And then you just plug her back in and you're good to go for the next round.
So we got the plug back together up under the dash. Now is the payoff. Now's the time when we test it to see if what we did's made a difference. So we're going to try out the turn signals. We'll go left. There's our left turn signal, right. We have a right turn signal. We got brake lights, and there that does it.